So in the parsha of this week, which is called Vayishlach, and he sent, referring to Yaakov, who sent messengers with a message of reconciliation to his brother Esav, we culminate a cycle of the past three parshiot, last week and the previous week, which deal with this very crucial, fundamental, and cosmically significant relationship between the brothers of Yaakov and Esav, which are prototypes for nothing less than the relationship between the Jew and the non-Jew, Esav being the kind of the prototype of the non-Jewish world, and Yaakov being, of course, the father of the tribes, the Jewish nation, literally Israel, as he receives that very name in this week's parsha. And indeed, we will be speaking about that. He is told about the name Israel, which comes from the word sarita, to wrestle or to strive with, that he has striven with God, as it's written, Elohim, but it really means an angel of God, a messenger of God. And he prevailed. The angel had to ask Yaakov to let him go. So that match was actually won by Yaakov, but not without a price. But I will soon illustrate this episode because maybe some of you are not familiar with the story. But we know from previous weeks, the twins, Yaakov and Esav, we spoke about the figure of Esav, far from having been intended to be a figure who was somehow evil or intrinsically negative. That may have happened later due to his abusing his power of free choice. But actually, Yaakov and Esav represented two forms of serving God, both of them profoundly positive. And in some ways, the prototype of Esav is even deeper and more powerful. And hence, this special quality, as we mentioned, then seen by their father Isaac, was what prompted Isaac to actually want to give these blessings to Esav. Blessings is an empowerment. Now the absconding, so to speak, of the blessings by Yaakov, who indeed was the one that truly deserved them, this reality was recognized by his mother, Rachel, by his mother, Rivka, rather, who surely understood the qualities of Esav, who surely understood what Yitzchak was aiming for. But her genius was in realizing that the time had not yet come for Esav to be transformed in that way, for the raw energy of Esav to be transformed in that way. But it was only a question of time, and indeed this was recognized by Yaakov, that a form of unity should and will eventually be achieved between them. Now, in the beginning of last week's Parsha Vayetze, we have Yaakov fleeing from Esav, who wants to kill him. You know, I think we've all had sibling rivalry. And there's not any of us who have not sometimes been angry at our brother and sister, but you know what? You can say I'm angry. Don't kill him. That's just by the way. And now he spent 20 years in the home of Lavan, outside of the sanctity and tranquility of Israel. Almost all the 12 tribes were born. Binyamin, the youngest of the brothers, is born in this week's parsha. And now as he returns, Yaakov contemplates that perhaps now the time has come for Yaakov and Esav to be reconciled with each other. That this is of huge significance. Allow me to explain. There is a dynamic from the beginning of creation of exile and redemption. And has been mentioned in previous lectures, redemption is where everything is where it belongs and how it belongs. Exile means something is out of place, as we know. And Gan Eden, as the original primordial state of the world, was a state of redemption. That would have continued interrupted into the first Shabbat of creation had the first man and the first woman not sinned by eating the fruit of knowledge, the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, before they were meant to do so. So this is what caused Galut, exile, and it became intensified. And although now we formulate the idea of Galut and Geula, redemption and exile, in terms of the Holy Temple, in terms of a Jewish monarchy, a descendant of King David, which indeed that is the way it is now, because since David was coronated, God communicated through the prophets that the leader of Israel will have to be from the seed of David and who will rule, and we will serve God together in the holiest place on earth when the temple is rebuilt. But that does not mean that this dynamic of a binary function of exile and redemption didn't exist previously. And that state of redemption could have been achieved sooner. In the lives of Jacob and Esau, this redemptive state is represented by their being united. Indeed, when we understand what their being united means, we'll realize that this has not changed. This is still what is going to happen when Mashiach comes. This is still the significance of the redemption. And that will be explained in our very next clip.